repeated that because I didn't want you to miss that. I want to give special thanks to my friend, Ambassador Isaiah Chavala, for inviting me to participate in this summit. And special thanks to Princess Maria Amor for your vision, but also for living it out. Many of us have visions, and most of us, however, just keep them in our minds. You have brought it into manifestation, and for that we are all here and grateful. And thanks to each of you who have traveled from so many places to be here for this summit. It speaks of your passion and your commitment to this work, and I give you thanks for that. I want to share with you thoughts about sustainability of social action and how my thoughts about that began forming in me when I was a very young girl, following the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I observed the tremendous public momentum for the civil rights movement that had been anchored in nonviolence lose its focus and impact. Is critical to compassion. And there is scientific research that talk about the benefits of gratitude. One such researcher is professor at University of California at Berkeley, Robert Emmons, who outlines 2 elements of gratitude. Emmons says, so I cite this one example. In 2001, when the Trade Center and other places in the US were attacked, the United States had a moment of one of its greatest accesses to power. It was a solidarity with nations around the world. That was power because it was unifying. But in lieu of power and accessing it, force is something that was used instead. And the US has not, to this day, regained the power that it had in that unifying moment 14 years ago. And so I invite you, as you look at situations in the work that you disconnect from our common humanity. It's difficult to be in peace with someone if you make them the other. And Professor Marumba is doing some important work. I know you may talk about it on the panel later, but how do we define humanity? Because the name of the organization, we care for humanity, and yet in many of our cultures, we have dehumanized people on and on and on and on. So that kind of dehumanization that is part of the cultures across history is one of the threads, one of the strategies, I'll say, that we have often used. So we have a challenge. How do we help one another and help individuals across communities and nations to